What's a transformation? Let's review so that we're all on the same page. There are three types of transformations. The first one is a translation. That is when we shift by a certain distance in a particular direction. The orientation and size and shape of the object remain unchanged. So in this example, we're shifting down 3 units. The second type is a reflection. A reflection is a flip across an arbitrary axis. The shape is otherwise unchanged. So we see that red dotted line, that's the axis of reflection. The third type is a rotation. A rotation is a turn by some angle around a given point. Again, the shape is otherwise unchanged. So here we see rotating 90 degrees clockwise about the red dot. Pause here to see what you will need for this project. We're going to be drawing inspiration from pixel art, which is basically just art created using a pixel or squares. This works really well because we're going to be designing our art using grid paper. Here are some pictures for inspiration, and we'll look at more later. All right, let's get started. So you're going to want to make sure that you're drawing using your grid paper that has the Cartesian plane on it. So it has the X and Y axis drawn out and numbered for you. Okay, I'm going to start by drawing in the quadrant where both X and Y coordinates are positive. And I have planned out my design on grid paper ahead of time, and I will share my plans with you so that you can use them if you like, okay, or you can create something on your own. So I'm going to do one of the astronauts from the game Among Us, and so I'm not using any diagonal lines because we're doing pixel art, right? So I'm going to, every time that I need a diagonal line, I'm going to go one down and one sideways, and one down and one sideways. Okay, so here I will now draw out my Among Us character. You can pause here and use the plan to create your own character if you like. So I have drawn and outlined my character, my pixel art, and now I'm going to add some color to it. Okay, so now I'm going to do my reflection. So I'm going to use this y-axis as my line of reflection. So I'm going to color it red so that you can see that I'll be taking this image and flipping it over that line, okay? So basically, I like doing the reflections. It makes sense to me. So I take one point and I count how many squares away it is from the y-axis. And then I count that many on the other side. So that backpack square, 1, 2, 3 away, 1, 2, 3 is where I would put my new point. So here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's my new point. So that's the backpack that I've just drawn. Okay, then I would take that point, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Does that make sense? 1, 2, 3. I'll count it one more time. 1, 2, 3. Yes, it does. So that's where that point would be. Okay, so basically I'm just going to continue counting how many blocks away from the y-axis each point is and reflecting it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 over to there. Okay, and I can keep track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can keep track by putting like a little check mark on the ones I've already done, or it depends on, how your visual spatial reasoning is, maybe you can already tell which ones you've already done. And then I might draw some of the lines just so that my brain can understand what I'm doing here. So that's how I do the reflection. So I count how many points away from the y-axis my line of reflection it is, and then I count that many on the other side of the line of reflection, and that's where I can place my new point. Okay, so it's going to be the same image, but instead the backpack is going to be on the opposite side and the visor area is going to be on the opposite side. So I'm going to speed up the video now and we'll meet back once I've transferred all the points. Okay, so I'm going to do the rotation now. So I need a point of rotation. So I'm going to choose that middle, the 0, 0, the origin. I'm going to choose where the two lines cross there, and that's going to be my point of rotation. So I'm going to place my tracing paper over top, and I'm going to draw my origin, my point of rotation. And then I'm going to hold my tracing paper in place as steady as I can. And I'm going to trace my character. Okay, all done tracing. So now I'm going to put my finger where the point of rotation is, and I'm going to rotate my tracing paper 90 degrees. So I'm going to just rotate it like that so that it's down into that other quadrant there. I just need to adjust it to make sure that it was actually a 90-degree rotation. Oh, and I rotated counterclockwise in this example. And you can always measure with a protractor to double check. So this is a little bit of a tricky part with the rotations, but I'm going to keep my finger pressing down on the tracing paper on the point of rotation. And then I'm just lifting up the paper slightly so that I can place the new points where my where my new character is now going to be. So I may have to sort of look at my image as well and just do my best to make sure that everything's in the right spot. And if I'm ever not sure, I can just place the tracing paper back on top and see if my drawing underneath matches up. Okay, now that I have all my points transferred, I'm going to use my pencil to trace and make sure that it actually looks like my character is supposed to look. So if I ever make a mistake, I should be able to notice the mistake because my picture won't look the way that it's supposed to. It won't look the same as the other one. Remember, in all of these transformations, the shape remains unchanged. Just the positioning of it is what changes. Okay, so there's my rotation 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, and the last one we're going to do is a slide. So we're going to be going, I'm going to just choose a number to go to the right, and then I'm going to choose a number to go down. So I have decided to go 15 to the right, 15 squares to the right, and then 5 squares down. So basically, I will be going from every single corner of my drawing and counting 15 squares to the right and 5 squares down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I counted 15 to the right and 5 down, and then we're putting a check mark there to show that we did that one. And now we'll repeat the process. So we're counting over 15 to the right and then 5 down. And it is very easy to make a mistake when doing this, especially with more of a complicated design like this. So take your time, and if something doesn't look right, then just recount. Okay, and just like I said, take your time. If you're getting frustrated, then just take a break. So another thing you can do is if you get tired of counting, to the right and down, another thing I realized was that I could just count the squares of my design and I could kind of redraw my design. So that's another way that you can do it once you get some of the initial points placed. So I will continue counting 15. Oh, whoops, I made a mistake on that one. So I'll have to recount. Oh, I forgot to go the 5 down. There we go. So 15 to the right and 5 down. So for your translation, you can choose the number of squares you're going to go to the right and how many you're going to go down. But we want to get a drawing in each quadrant of the grid there. So that's why I am going to the right and down. So I'm going to speed up the video and we'll meet back up once I have transferred all the points. Okay, so I have transferred the points and I've outlined it with a black Sharpie. And I know when you draw a translation, a slide like this one, sometimes you see an arrow from like one of the points that corresponds to the point on the new shape. So I've chosen that point at the bottom of the backpack and I've drawn my arrow there. And now I'm gonna add some color. So let's go. There we go. So I have labeled on my transformation. So original image, reflection across the y-axis, rotation 90 degrees counterclockwise, and then a slide 15 degrees to the right, 15 squares to the right and 5 down. So make sure that you add color and you label which translations you did. And that is it. I can't wait to see your pixel art transformations. Thank you so much for watching.